Right, YouTube, this is Mr. Mean coming at you again. Hey, two videos in one day. It's crazy. My wife went to Sulphur to visit family, so I'm left alone to my own devices. And you know what that means? I'm gonna make silly videos. Today's back to the RPGs. I know we did a couple videos non-RPG related, and I want to get back to the RPG stuff. So today, one of my near and dear favorite games, been out since I believe about 2006. It was out before that, published by another company, and then Eden Studios took it over, and they converted it over to what they call the Uni system, which you've probably heard of that if you've heard of Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Angel or All Flesh Must Be Eaten. I helped do some work for that game. I was one of their play testers for that and for Buffy. I think I'm listed in the books as well. They also did Planet of the Apes type game, which was very cool. I did some playtesting for that as well. But anyway, Conspiracy X. This is the GM screen. It's a real simple quad photo screen with a whole bunch of information on the inside for the GM. This is a game that I've ran many times and I enjoy it. So a lot of cool art. This is basically Conspiracy X is the Jesse Ventura role-playing game. If anybody who knows the old wrestler Jesse Ventura is I think he was mayor, governor of some little Minnesota or something. Huge conspiracy theorist. Even had a TV show for a short period of time. Anyway, this is the game of, yes, all those bumps in the night are real. Little green men from space are real. The government's covering everything up. It's real. And there's the extraterrestrial source book. This was published by, again, like I said, by Eden Studios. It was developed and put together by Alex Yurkat and George Valikos, or Vasilikos. I can never say his name right. The guy's done so much for me. George has been an awesome guy. Sent me lots of promo materials. Every time I do a demo or whatever, he sends me tons of stuff to give to the people. And I'm lucky enough to have gone to Gen Con one year for him and helped support Eden Studios. And I ran a bunch of games. And I can honestly say the nice part about when you run games at big conventions is if people enjoy the game, they'll usually go buy it. I mean, you go to Gen Con with some cash in your pocket, and it was nice to see people go to booths after I ran the game and say, hey, this guy ran a game. It was a lot of fun. I really like it. And buy the game. That makes everything I do worth it, and it's validation for the game designers, for Alex and George and the crew at Eden Studios to know that they put out a game that people enjoy, and I really enjoy running this game. If you're a fan of X-Files, Sully and Mulder, this is the game for you. I don't think there's a better version out there. GURPS did a version, so when you get converted to GURPS, you've made it big time because Conspiracy X was converted to GURPS, and it's a phenomenal game. There's several different books out. You can go to EdenStudios.com is their website. They are an awesome company. Buffy the Vampire Slayer is a fun game. Uses the Uni system as well. Witchcraft, which was another one of my all-time favorite RPGs. You play modern-day witches, so none of this sparkly vampire stuff, or more True Blood kind of witches. Very cool game. Very kind of on the dark side. I wouldn't say it's a kiddie game, but you could make it so. And then also the next evolution of that was Armageddon, which was written by C.J. Carella. And if I said his name wrong, I apologize. But again, phenomenal setting, all-time favorite setting. It's in the future, and basically it's everything. It's superheroes, witchcraft, vampires, werewolves, monsters, ghosts, demons, the whole nine yards. It's got everything. Armageddon's a pretty cool game. Eden Studio produces it as well, and I believe it's in a second print. So you should be able to find it. Ask your favorite local game store. But today we're going to talk about Conspiracy X because fun game. The Greys. You work for the Aegis Corporation. You are an operative. You have a special set of skills, whatever they may be, whether you're an FDA agent, Food, Drug, and Administration, a customs agent, Border Patrol, local cop, local detective, firefighter, you name it, security guard. you have a special set of skills that Aegis needs and or wants, and so they recruit you. Um, and you go to work for them, and you're basically you're a secret agent. I mean, it's Project Blue Book. You know, the UFOs are real. I can't say enough cool stuff about this game. If you're a huge conspiracy sci-fi fan, you know, low tech modern day sci-fi, this is the game. I mean, it's you know, you got some cool guns, you got some aliens, you got all kinds of neat stuff. It's everything you can need, you know, to run a conspiracy game. It's you know, it parallels today's. It's a couple years. I think it was first published in 2006, if I remember correctly. Uh, of course, I can't find it when I need it. Uh, 2006 by C.J. Corella, the Unisystem, which was the system I believe he developed. This is the first print, 2006. So I've had this a while. And you're not a superhero. You're a guy, and there are things out there that will eat you. Things that go bump in the night. Paranormal, sociopathical, sociopathic, crazy, you know, face eaters, you know, bath soaps on steroids. It's all here. And you play those agents that go out and you know, you bump back at the things that go bump in the dark. There's the Saurons, which are the reptilian aliens, and they're kind of the bad guys. There's Atlanteans, which I don't want to ruin anything, but they could be aliens. They could just be a higher evolution of man. Who knows? And then there's the Greys, and the Greys are your typical little gray spacemen, and they have technology and they've infiltrated society and stuff. So it's very cool. It's a really easy dice system. It's a stat, a skill, and a 1d10. So very similar to the old Cyberpunk system. But in my opinion, it works a lot better. You can really make a character that you can sink your teeth into. And they give you a lot of, you know, pre-done, you know, templates, so to speak. Character creation is a point-buy system. It's pretty simple. And you choose what level your character type is going to be. So you can be pre-heroic, neo-talented, heroic, or talented. You know, and of course, the higher the level, the more points you get. And you choose professions. You know, so you can be a police officer. You could be a scientist. You could be a videographer. You could be an ambulance driver. You can come from all walks of life. So it's cool. So you could make yourself. You know, I'm an IT you know, desktop support administrator for a large company. I could be that guy in here, and I have computer skills, and so I can manipulate computers and do things with them. I also have a psi skill in here, so you want to, you know, it's not like Mind Blast and you can zap somebody and make their head explode, but it's more on the lines of like close to like reading minds and getting vibrations or feelings and stuff. There is some assault type powers, but if I remember correctly, they're few and far between and kind of hard to get off. But if you do get them off, bitchin'. And then there's a cool mechanic in here called pulling strings. And what that is, you know, you get to a crime scene and the local cops are going to be there any minute. You can make a phone call, say you're part of you're a detective in another precinct, but you could pull strings by making a phone call and talking to the judge or the governor or something and saying, hey, get these guys off my back. We need this crime scene for 10 more minutes, and then they can come in. And then phone calls are made, and then, you know, the cops are like, oh, well, we got to back off. So, you know, it's a cool system. Combat is pretty fast. What I like about it is all your damage, you have the option to chuck dice, or all the weapon damages are given on average. So, like if it's a 3d6 weapon, it'll do 9 points of damage, you know. So, because that's the average of 3d6 is, I think, 9. So it'll do 9 or 10 points of damage. So that gun. So as a GM, when you're running this, you don't have to sit there and roll a bunch of dice. You can if you want to. I personally like my GMing to be streamlined, and so boom, I roll for the attack. If it hits, it's 9 points of damage. You got shot. You know, you got shot in the shoulder, 9 points of damage. Move on. So very cool. I mean, books being from 2006, they're still in really good shape. I found them, like I said, I've said in previous, this room is turning into a baby room. We just moved a month ago. And I don't have a game room anymore. I lost it because the baby's coming. So I've been digging around and finding stuff. And of course, I just found these and I was super excited. I ran a demo a couple of months ago in Sulphur in the Lake Charles area for Paper Heroes, and it was well received. And George, being super awesome, sent me a bunch of the Witchcraft GM screens with a little pamphlet inside of it, and he sent me a bunch of dice. So the players came, I had like 6 players, and I think, they all got a set of dice. Free dice, hey. Who doesn't like freebies? So nobody needed to have dice. They showed up to the game store. I gave them a set of dice. They were able to sit down and play right away. So huge kudos to George. Phenomenal game. Again, if you like that Conspiracy X, you like the excuse me, I'm sorry. You like X-Files, all that kind of stuff. Even Independence Day, you could run this as an Independence Day. The precursor, the aliens are already here and they're trying to dominate our planet before they invade. You could totally do it because there's stats in here for the aliens as well as for some other things, the weird things. And of course, they decide to mow the lawn at 10 o'clock in the morning, or 10:30. So I apologize if you can hear that in the background. There's nothing I can do about that. So again, if you like conspiracy games, if you like, well, I don't want to say low combat because this can be high combat. You can make a bunch of like soldier backgrounds, military backgrounds, and you can have a high combat game. Combat in this game is pretty smooth. I kind of like it. It's a very easy system to get your head around. Tons of NPC stats in all the books. The extraterrestrial book has obviously just what you would think, extraterrestrials and aliens and stuff. So lots of cool stuff. So if you see this sitting on your game shelf and you're looking for a new game, might not be a bad idea to pick it up. Not only because Mr. Mean says so, but because it's a good game. And if nothing else, if you like that kind of read, if you're into that, conspiracy theory stuff, these are really good reads. They're very well written and very well laid out. It's a lot of black and white art. The second edition book is hardback. First edition was softback, if I remember correctly. But you can see it's all black and white art. Slick pages. Like I said, the book holds up well. It lays flat. You got to open it up and you got to look at something and you need it open for an NPC or whatever. It lays flat. The GM screen, if I had one complaint, it's too thin. I mean, it's pretty thick when it's all put together, but once you fold it out, it's that thin cereal cardboard. So it's not very thick. But it costs money to make these things. I understand why they did it this way. It also came with a little pamphlet. It was pretty cool. So I'd like to see a bigger, better GM screen. Of course, there's nothing that says you can't cut this and put it in your own GM screen. Make a thicker GM screen. It would be easy enough to do. You don't have to use miniatures with this. This is a really good theater of the mind type game. Miniatures don't hurt. You can use them. There's enough, miniatures out there nowadays that you can find something to work for it. But it's a good game. Like I said, real simple system. Stat and a skill creates a total, and then a D10 adds to it. Anything over a 9 is a success, and then you have levels of success after that. 10s explode, so if you roll a 10, you get to add to it and keep going. So you can get those high values that you need to pull off the really miraculous stuff. And I've had players do it. I mean, do some crazy stuff. You have luck as well as one of your stats. I forgot about it. It's been a while since I've run this, but you can spend luck to increase your rolls. So if you miss it by a point, you could spend a point of luck and get another roll and do stuff. But your base modifiers, easy is a +5 or more to your roll. A moderate is +3. Average is a +1 to +2. Challenge, including most combat rolls, has no modifier, so it's your ability versus theirs. And then difficult is a -1 to a -2. Very difficult, -3 to -5. Heroic, -6 to -9. Near impossible is -10 or worse. So remember, you're adding a stat and a skill, and your average stats are like 3 to 6. Your average skills are 2 to 3. So for a human, because most of you are baseline human. There are rules for playing others. I won't spoil what they are, but you can play non-humanoids or gifted. There's even basic cybernetics. You can get some devices that plug in basically to your mind. So it's a little bit of everything. And they've got a couple source books out for it. It's still supported. I don't think they've come out with anything recently, but George runs a very successful gaming store in upstate New York. I don't know the name of it because I don't live there and I don't follow it that much, but he's prominent on Facebook and he's a nice guy. So if you're in that area of the woods, stop in and say hi. Let him know you saw my video, and pick up the game, man. You'll do yourself a favor. It's a good read. It's a fun game. If you've got the type of group that likes those type of games, you'll have a good time. I promise you. It's a fun game. If you like conspiracy theory, if you like those cliffhangers, if you like that not knowing, and the spooky, what's that in the dark, the Mulder and the Sully, X-Files kind of thing. This game really sets the tone. And iTunes and Amazon have the X-Files soundtrack. And Amazon, I think you can stream it for free. And let me tell you, it goes great with this RPG. The soundtrack is awesome for the X-Files TV show. They did a soundtrack, and it's got some cool stuff on it. So it really helps set the mood of the game. And like I said, there's plenty of adventures out there for it and stuff like that. So if you haven't, like I said, if you haven't given it a shot, give it a shot. If you go on to Gen Con next year or Origins and the guys are there, have them run a demo for you. It's totally worth it. I'm planning on going to Gen Con next year, hoping and praying everything works out. And I can guarantee you I'll probably be running a game because it's that much fun and I enjoy it. And it's just great to run games at Gen Con or any big convention. So anyway, this is Mr. Mean giving you another video again. Conspiracy X, Eden Studios. Pick it up. It's a great game. And until then, keep on gaming and may all your dice ace. Peace and hair grease.